Well, it's time for a little celebration. After 2 weeks on the road, we've reached our most southerly point. We've arrived at the town of Sintra, and it's only a short walk to see the palace. Oh, and Lisbon is only a short train ride away. Join us as we take a day off the bikes to explore, before setting off again east and inland towards Spain. Of course, if this is your first visit to the channel, you can catch up on all our past episodes and big tours from previous years.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sintra or Bust, our Best of Portugal tour. Now over the past 5 weeks we've covered about 4,000 miles across northern Spain and Portugal. We've been on every type of road from motorway to mud tracks, and we've ridden in everything from biblical rain to 40-degree blinding heat.
If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe and stay notified. We don't make any money from them, and your support encourages us to make more. For once, we've been rather clever in our choice of location. The obvious choice would be to stay in the centre of Lisbon, but that's pretty expensive, and particularly if you need somewhere to store your bikes. Instead, we found ourselves a delightful place in the hills of Sintra, within easy reach of the palace and castle, and avoiding the need to use public transport to get there. Of course, we're going to have to use a train to get into Lisbon itself, but the travel that way round is much easier and less busy. The only downside, well for me at least, was that my bed was a little on the petite side. Sintra isn't too crowded, particularly in the evenings, and there are some great restaurants available. We settled down to some fantastic grub and discussed our plans for the next day. We had been joined by Steve's wife Penny, so we decided on a two-pronged approach for the following day. Steve and Penny would go to check out Sintra Palace and the castle, leaving Mike and I to explore the city of Lisbon. Oh, and Steve had set us an extra task to get him a remote control for his camera at a DJI store somewhere in the wilds of Lisbon. Now, a great way to explore Lisbon is by tram, but it does have its downsides. As with any busy city, pickpockets can be a real nuisance, and there are a few tips to bear in mind if you travel by tram. They tend to favour the busier routes, and we were advised to avoid the number 28, one of the most popular routes for tourists and pickpockets alike. So here are some tips. Pickpockets won't be dressed as gangsters or robbers, and they won't be easy to spot. Instead, they're likely to be dressed in casual clothing, or perhaps as ordinary folks travelling to and fro work. They tend to operate at the rear of the tram. This is because the driver sits at the front, and they're less likely to get caught at the back. You should be particularly wary when the automatic doors close, as that's an opportunity for a quick snatch. Pickpockets will target loose items such as wallets and valuables in rucksacks, and they're skillful enough to work under your clothing, so the best advice is to leave your valuables at your hotel if you can. Mike and I chose an alternative tram route which gave us a flavour of the city but avoided the crowds.
Que me dice si nos vamos donde nadie nos moleste y lo hacemos con locura como lo quisiste siempre. ¿Qué te parece si esta noche no lo dudas si te atreves y dejamos de aguantarnos? Si te quiero tú me quieres, como la flor de los balcones que alegra los corazones, el mejor de mis amores, no hay ninguna como tú. Yo quiero bajarte la luna, yo quiero verte desnuda y que me digas a oscuras, quiero hacerlo una vez más. Y si te vas, te vas, te vas, y si te vas, te vas, te vas, y si te vas, te vas, te vas, llévame contigo. Y si te vas, te vas, te vas, y si te vas, te vas, te vas, Llévatela de mí, no me dejes solo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Dame tu beso, dámelo, dame tu beso que son míos. Después te vas donde tú quieras, pero y quédate conmigo. ¿Qué te parece si esta noche no lo piensas?
Now that was a really relaxing way to see the city. No walking in the intense heat.
Como la flor de los balcones que ha alegrado corazón.
Time maybe for a quick beer before we set off.
No hay ninguna como tú.
Trains aren't my favourite form of transport, but at least the Portuguese stations feature some rather attractive artistic tiling to distract you from the task at hand. As underground stations go, this one was pretty cheery. We made our way to a mega mall, which to be fair isn't my favourite place to be either. We found our way to the DJI store for Steve, grabbed a quick cup of coffee and made a rapid exit. We made our way back to Sintra, where we expected to see a full taxi rank. What we actually found was a completely deserted one. There were no taxis to be found at all, and we were told that we'd have to wait at least half an hour before one became available. In desperation, we persuaded the driver of an electric tuk-tuk to give us a lift. It cost quite a bit more than the equivalent taxi ride, but it was certainly exciting. These things don't hang about, and at one point we went so fast that my hat blew off. Kudos to the tuk-tuk driver for leaping out to recover it for me.
Bloody hell, it's a bit chilly up here.
We made it back to our lovely, relaxing hotel just about in time, it seems, as Mike had really had enough. Meanwhile, the more energetic members of the team, Steve and Penny, had trekked all the way up the hill to see the Sintra Palace and Castle, and had captured the evidence for us on camera. The next morning, it was time for Penny to take her leave, and she duly set off to the airport. Though not before taking some time to grab a quick picture of us three musketeers on our bikes. Join us next time when we journey to the historic city of Évora, continuing then on to Merida on the Spanish border. We'd expected the weather to get a little warmer as we travelled inland, but we were completely unprepared for the onslaught of blistering heat that awaited us. See you soon, and don't forget to bring a bottle of water.